Hello. I woke up one day in my late 20s and I realized I was the last single person left. And I hated it. Where I come from, most people expect their partners to be their best friends, their lovers, their family, their everything. And it's a lot, and it doesn't leave a lot of time for any other relationships in your life, especially friendships. And so when each of my friends found their person, I felt like I'd lost them. I didn't hate being single, I hated being alone. Without a romantic partner, I didn't feel cared for. I was no one's priority. And from what I could see, the only way to access reliable support, connection, and care outside of my family was through a romantic partner. I tried my best to find a boyfriend, but that wasn't happening for me in Australia. And I was having no luck. And I didn't want to settle for just anyone because I have seen what happens when people settle. And so I became hyper independent, self sufficient, and to ease the pain and boredom, I threw myself into my career. So at least now I'm an award winning producer, podcaster, and radio presenter. There have never been this many single peoples in history. In the UK, 1/3 of all homes are single occupancy now. In the US, it is estimated that by 2030, almost half of women aged 25 to 44 are going to be single. We are essentially the first generation, especially of women, who can choose to be single. No one has ever lived like us before, and so we have no blueprint to follow. And people in relationships, they're not used to having to include single people or think about single people. And so there's a cultural tension and a cultural lag. We as a society haven't caught up to the fact and made, accounts for all the new single people in the world. Maybe that's part of the reason why we're experiencing a loneliness epidemic so severe that the World Health Organization has deemed it a global health crisis. After 6 years of single living, I had a mentee B, also known as an existential crisis, after a very bad date that ended with him saying he was emotionally unavailable and me crying on the kitchen floor. I thought, there has to be more to life than this. There has to be more to life than bad dates and feeling lonely. There has to be somewhere in the world where I don't need a boyfriend in order to be cared for. And it turns out there is. In India, of all places. That night during my existential crisis, I booked a flight to India. I have always wanted to go, and during my severely single days, I watched so many Bollywood movies, I accidentally started learning Hindi. मैं थोड़ा थोड़ा हिंदी बोलती हूँ. धन्यवाद. I arrived in Mumbai at 6 a.m. and I was in the back of a black and yellow cab when a voice from within was like, I'm going to live here one day. And that voice was right. A few months later, I lost my job, and my redundancy payout was the exact amount of money I had budgeted to quit my job and to come back to India. And I took it as a sign from the universe. And I've been here now for the better part of 18 months. And I have never, not once, felt lonely in India. For the first time in my life, I feel like I'm in the right place at the right time where I'm supposed to be. And it makes absolutely no sense why I feel this way in India. And all my friends joke that I must have been Indian in a past life. It's the only way to explain it. But ironically, India, a place that is obsessed with marriage, has taught me how to enjoy being single. And it's all because of India's superpower, community. All the West sees of India is what Hollywood shows us. It's all slumdog millionaires, spiritual awakenings, chaos, and diarrhea. But it's when you look past the stereotypes that you find India's true X factor. It's hard to talk about India as a whole because there is no one defining Indian culture. There are hundreds. But the one thing that all Indian cultures are built on is community. Community is so ingrained in day-to-day life here that it comes as easy as breathing, even on the days when the air quality index is very bad. Every dictionary defines community as a noun, but in India, community is a verb. It's a doing word. Everyone builds to it and adds to it every day. It's like a Fibonacci sequence of connections. Each inner circle becomes a community that connects with another and another. And before you know it, everyone in India is a part of this giant community that all looks after each other. I went from living alone for 5 years to living in a hostel in a small fishing village in Mumbai for 6 months. And I felt like I was living in a Hallmark movie the entire time. I loved being surrounded by people. And I loved that every day when I walked down the street, I would see the local kids playing together. And every night, all the local aunties would hang out in a square, and then their husband would do the same thing across the road. I saw that regardless of age, culture, religion, or relationship status, everyone is cared for. And at first, I was welcomed as a guest. In India, there's a concept called Atiti Devo Bhava, which means guest is God. But after a couple of months, I was embraced as a member of the community. And I won't lie to you, even though it was absolutely everything I've ever wanted, it took a while for me to adjust to being a part of a community that's there all day, every day. In the West, community lays invisible and dormant until something really bad happens. In times of crisis and disaster, people come together and they look after each other. But once the acute need for help dissipates, so does the community. No one wants to intrude. And I don't think the West lacks care. I think it lacks space for care to exist in day-to-day life. In Australia, older women are the fastest growing group experiencing homelessness. And single mothers are 3 times more likely to live below the poverty line than anyone else. This lack of community makes all of us unnecessarily vulnerable. And even though I am a loyal devotee of Brené Brown, and I know that her research has found that vulnerability is the foundation for connection, love, and belonging, it took me a long time to take off that armor, let people in, and be vulnerable. And in the end, I was forced into it. And I am grateful because I learned what it feels like for the first time ever to experience care and love outside of a romantic or family relationship. A few months ago, I went to the gym in Mumbai. I had a freak accident that left me in hospital unable to walk for a week. I was doing sit-ups on the inflatable gym ball when it went out from underneath me and my back slammed into the hardwood floor. I somehow made it home and up 4 flights of steps before the shock completely wore off and I was stuck on the couch, unable to move. It took me 2 hours before I admitted to myself that I needed help. One of my friends left a date halfway through to come to my apartment, lift me off the floor, change my clothes, and put me to bed. Another friend came over, stayed the night, and helped carry me down 4 flights of steps into the ambulance the very next morning. Now, she was moving house that day, so when she had to go meet her removalists, another friend who had recently lost her father in hospital spent 14 hours with me in the emergency department, and she hand-fed me because I couldn't move, and she knotted my hair. No, she braided my hair so it wouldn't knot. For the entire week I was in hospital, they took turns visiting me, and they made sure that I was never not once alone. They brought me food, kept my parents updated, and made sure that I was being looked after. And even though, I was in so much pain and I was genuinely terrified, I kept saying, "You go, don't worry about me, you're busy," because I didn't want to feel like a burden. And every single time my friend would say, "Bree, stop, we'll figure." And that's a phrase I hear a lot in India. We'll figure. It's that Indian jugaad, which means that no matter what, we will find a solution. And they did. My friends somehow managed to work full time and ensure that I was never alone in hospital. Most of my friends outside of India never even messaged me to see if I was okay. And they knew I was in hospital. But I do get it because in the West, we're all a part of an individualistic society that values personal space and independence. And if you're not used to it, community and care can feel like an invasion of privacy. It can feel like someone like crossing a line that you were taught to protect. But research, all of the research, proves the opposite. People live longer and recover from health scares and injury so much quicker and experience less anxiety and depression when they have community a part of their day-to-day life. Community doesn't take away your freedom, it creates safety. When you are held by people, you stop spending all of your energy just existing, just surviving. Life becomes so much easier and so much more fun when it stops being about me time and starts being about us time. I am still the exact same woman that I was in Australia, but in India, I am happier and more successful than I've ever been in my entire life. I didn't suddenly become more talented, and I definitely didn't work harder. If anything, I actually have worked much less since I've been here. And it really doesn't matter to me whether I'm single or not anymore. It's irrelevant to my life now. Because of India and the capacity for community, I am a part of something so much bigger now. I've stopped having to do life alone, and the world has completely opened up for me. Thank you.